Chapter 1. Into the darkness. The moon hung heavy in the ink-black sky as I trudged through the dense thicket of Hollow Grove. The air was thick with the scent of decay, and the distant wails of the wind seemed to whisper of ancient secrets hidden within the gnarled trees. It was Halloween night, and as the crunch of dead leaves echoed beneath my boots, I couldn't shake the feeling that something sinister lurked just beyond the shadows. My name is Emily, and I had always been drawn to the macabre. The legends surrounding Hollow Grove were as old as time itself, tales of restless spirits and unspeakable horrors that prowled the forest's depths. Yet, despite the warnings of the townsfolk, I couldn't resist the allure of exploring its haunted expanse on the most haunted night of the year. As I ventured deeper into the heart of the grove, the trees seemed to close in around me, their skeletal branches clawing at the sky like the fingers of the damned. The darkness grew denser with each step, enveloping me in a suffocating shroud of dread. It was then that I heard it, a soft, haunting melody drifting through the night like the lament of a lost soul. My pulse quickened as I followed the sound, my senses heightened by the primal fear that pulsed through my veins. It led me deeper into the grove, twisting and winding through the maze of trees until at last, I stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight. There, at the center of it all, stood an ancient oak, its gnarled roots digging deep into the earth like the talons of some great beast. And there, seated upon a moss-covered stone, was a figure cloaked in shadow, their face obscured by the darkness. The melody grew louder now, echoing off the trees in a haunting crescendo that sent shivers down my spine. Chapter 2. The Pack. I approached the figure cautiously, my heart pounding in my chest like a drumbeat of dread. As I drew closer, the melody ceased, and the figure turned to face me, revealing eyes as dark as the void itself. "You should not be here, child," they whispered, their voice like the rustle of leaves in the wind. I swallowed hard, my throat dry with fear. I had to know, I stammered, my words barely more than a whisper. The figure regarded me with an intensity that made my blood run cold. "And now that you know," they said, "what will you do?" I hesitated, the weight of their words hanging heavy in the air. I don't know," I admitted, my voice trembling with uncertainty. The figure leaned closer, their gaze piercing through the darkness like twin beacons of despair. "There is power here," they said, their voice a soft, insidious whisper. "Power beyond your wildest dreams. But it comes at a price." I felt a chill run down my spine as their words washed over me, filling me with a sense of unease. "What price?" I asked, my voice barely more than a whisper. The figure smiled, a cold, knowing smile that sent shivers down my spine. "A pact," they said, their voice dripping with malice. "A pact sealed in blood." My heart hammered in my chest as I struggled to comprehend the gravity of their words. "And if I refuse?" I asked, my voice trembling with fear. The figure's smile widened, their eyes alight with an otherworldly glow. "Then you will remain forever lost," they said, their voice a sinister echo in the darkness. Chapter 3. The Ritual. I knew then that I had no choice. The darkness of the grove stretched out before me, an endless expanse of shadows and secrets that threatened to consume me whole. And so, with a trembling hand, I offered myself up to the darkness, sealing my fate in blood and whispers. The figure led me to the base of the ancient oak, where a circle of stones lay bathed in moonlight. Symbols of arcane power adorned the ground, their meaning lost to time and memory. The figure motioned for me to kneel, and as I did, I felt the weight of centuries pressing down upon me like a suffocating blanket of despair. "Repeat after me," the figure said, their voice low and hypnotic. "I pledge myself to the darkness. I offer my soul to the void. In exchange, grant me power beyond imagining." I repeated the words, my voice trembling with fear and anticipation. And as the last syllable fell from my lips, the ground beneath me trembled, and the air crackled with the promise of untold power. Chapter 4. The Awakening. In that moment, I felt something stir deep within me, a dark and primal force that pulsed with the rhythm of the earth itself. It surged through my veins like wildfire, filling me with a power beyond imagining. I could feel the darkness calling to me, whispering secrets that no mortal was meant to know. And yet, even as the darkness consumed me, a part of me recoiled in horror at what I had become. I had traded my soul for power, and now I was bound to the darkness for all eternity. But there was no turning back now. The pact had been sealed, and I was forever bound to the grove and its twisted inhabitants. Chapter 5. The Unraveling. Days turned to weeks, and weeks turned to months as I wandered the depths of the grove, my mind consumed by the darkness that surrounded me. I had become something other than human, something twisted and unholy that hungered for the souls of the living. And yet, even as I reveled in the power that coursed through my veins, I could not shake the feeling of emptiness that gnawed at my soul. I was alone, trapped in a prison of my own making, with nothing but the darkness to keep me company. But then, one fateful night, I heard it, a voice calling out to me from the depths of the grove. It was a voice I knew all too well, a voice from a lifetime ago, before I had become lost to the darkness. It was my own voice. Chapter 6. The Reckoning. With each step, memories flooded back to me, memories of a life long forgotten, of hopes and dreams that had been swallowed whole by the darkness. And as I emerged from the depths of the grove, I saw her standing there before me, my past self, her eyes wide with terror and disbelief. "Who are you?" she whispered, her voice barely more than a breath of wind. I stepped closer, my heart heavy with regret. "I am you," I said, my voice a hollow echo in the night. Or rather, I was you. Before the darkness claimed me, she recoiled, her eyes filled with horror and despair. "What have you done?" she cried, her voice breaking with anguish. I reached out to her, my hand trembling with sorrow and regret. "I made a deal," I said, my voice barely more than a whisper. "A deal with the darkness. And now I am bound to it for all eternity." Tears welled in her eyes as she looked upon me, her heart heavy with the weight of my sins. "Is there no hope?" she asked, her voice filled with desperation. I shook my head, my eyes filled with tears of my own. "I am lost," I said, my voice barely more than a whisper. "But perhaps you still have a chance." And with that, I turned and disappeared into the darkness, leaving behind the echoes of a life that had been swallowed whole by the depths of Hollow Grove. For in the end, it is not the darkness that defines us, but the choices we make in its embrace. And though I may be lost to the shadows, perhaps there is still hope for those who dare to walk in the light.
By the way, if you want more horror and creepy stories like this, then please subscribe.